man sits in a workshop in Munich, Germany, surrounded by tools. He is a carpenter, skilled with his hands, good at precision work. He is also building a bomb. Not for the military, not for money, for an idea. He believes that Adolf Hitler is destroying Germany. He believes that Hitler must be killed. So he is teaching himself how to construct an explosive device, and he plans to place it where Hitler will be. His name was Georg Elser. He was a working-class man with little education. He had no military training. He had no connections to generals or diplomats or any of the resistance networks that would later try to kill Hitler. He was simply a man who decided to do it himself. Elser had been a communist in the 1930s. When the Nazis came to power, he was one of the first people they arrested. He was imprisoned, tortured, and released. The experience radicalized him. He came to believe that democracy had failed in Germany, that only direct action could stop Hitler. In 1938, Elser decided to act. He decided to build a bomb and plant it where Hitler would be. Hitler made speeches every year at a beer hall called the Bürgerbräu in Munich. The speech was always on November 8th, the anniversary of the failed Nazi putsch of 1923. Elser decided that he would plant a bomb in the beer hall, set to explode at the moment Hitler was speaking. For months, Elser worked on the bomb. He had never built an explosive device before. He taught himself. He studied how bombs were constructed. He gathered materials. He built a timing mechanism, a clock that would run for hours, then trigger an explosion. All of it built with the precision of a carpenter, using materials he could find. He also needed access to the beer hall. Elser got a job as a janitor at the Bürgerbräu. For weeks, he worked there, studying the building, planning where to place the bomb. He knew that the bomb would have to be inside a wooden pillar, in a location where it would kill Hitler but could be hidden beforehand. On November 8, 1939, Elser placed the bomb in the beer hall. It was set to explode at 9:15 p.m., when Hitler would be speaking. Elser did not stay to watch. He walked away from the building and took a train to the German-Swiss border. He planned to cross into Switzerland and then flee to Prague. But something went wrong. The bomb exploded, but Hitler was not killed. Elser's timing had been off. Hitler had left the podium early. The explosion killed 7 people, including a man standing near where Hitler had been standing. But Hitler was already on his way out. He was unhurt. Elser was arrested at the Swiss border. The Nazis interrogated him. He confessed. He had built the bomb. He had tried to kill the Führer. What is remarkable about Elser's interrogation is that he never claimed to be part of a larger conspiracy. He never tried to protect other people. He told the Nazis that he alone had built the bomb. He alone had planned it. He had acted because he believed it was right. The Nazis found this almost incomprehensible. How could an ordinary working-class man decide to assassinate the Führer? How could he act without orders from above? But that was exactly what Elser had done. He was not a general. He was not a diplomat. He was not a member of the aristocracy. He was a carpenter who believed that Hitler had to die. Hitler was mystified by Elser. He ordered that Elser be kept alive, imprisoned rather than executed. For years, Elser was held in Dachau concentration camp. The Nazis wanted to understand him. They wanted to figure out how he had done it. They wanted to learn whether there were others like him. In April 1945, with the Allies approaching, the Nazis executed Elser. He was killed in Dachau just days before the camp was liberated. He was 46 years old. What is important about Georg Elser is that he showed what an individual could do, armed with nothing but conviction. He had no military support. He had no government backing. He had no organization helping him. He simply decided to kill Hitler, taught himself how to build a bomb, and attempted it. He failed. But the fact that he tried it all is remarkable. The bomb was only minutes away from succeeding. If Elser's timing had been slightly different, if Hitler had stayed at the podium a few minutes longer, the war might have ended in 1939 instead of 1945. Germany might have been spared 6 more years of war. Elser's story is not well known. The July 20th plot, the conspiracy led by Stauffenberg, is famous. Elser is forgotten. Perhaps because he was a working-class communist rather than a military officer. Perhaps because he acted alone rather than as part of a network. Perhaps because his attempt seemed somehow less refined than Stauffenberg's. But Elser's attempt was real. His bomb was real. His conviction was real. He was willing to die to stop Hitler. And he did die in a concentration camp, while the man he had tried to kill was still in power. Elser had no training in explosives. He had never built a bomb before. But he was a carpenter. He understood precision, measurement, timing. He understood how to build a mechanism that would function reliably, that would do what it was designed to do when it was supposed to do it. He studied bomb-making manuals. He obtained materials. He built the device in pieces, the main charge, the detonating mechanism, the timing device. He tested the components. He calibrated the clock so that it would run for hours and then trigger the detonation at exactly the right moment. For an ordinary person to do this requires courage beyond measure. Elser had no military training. He had no authority. He was just a carpenter. But he believed that the best use of his life was to try to kill the man destroying his country. The clock mechanism was the most important part. It had to be precise. A few seconds early or a few seconds late would make the difference between success and failure. Elser spent weeks calibrating it. He tested it repeatedly. He adjusted it. He was preparing a timepiece that would change history, if only the timing could be perfect. One more fact stands out. The work of these heroes was not celebrated in their own time. Most of them died without recognition. Most of them were forgotten. It took decades, sometimes centuries, for their stories to be told, for people to understand what they had done, for their sacrifice to be honored. This is why these stories matter. Not because they are famous, but because they were real people who made real choices. They could have looked away. They could have said it was not their problem. They could have saved themselves. But they did not. If the story moved you, subscribe to follow the Untold Front. New stories every week.